Welcome back, friends. Today we're diving into something cozy and colorful, making a natural coffee lavender tallow soap, while I also prepare a simple, rustic polenta. If you're enjoying this cozy little corner of handmade soap and hearty polenta, don't forget to subscribe. It's like joining our kitchen table, where stories, tips, and a little bit of magic are always served. Our morning begins with coffee, while we feed our cats and dogs. In Ukrainian villages, mornings have always started early. Long before the sun rises, farmers tend to animals, milk cows, and sweep the yard. There's something grounding about this rhythm of life. In traditional Ukrainian homes, the rooster was not just a pet, but a living alarm clock. Families would wake to its crowing and immediately begin chores, from fetching water to preparing breakfast on a wood-fired stove. Breakfast wasn't just food, it was storytelling time. While porridge cooked or bread baked, elders shared tales of harvests, local legends, and family history, passing knowledge from generation to generation. Mornings often start with music or prayer, quietly humming folk songs while working. There's a deep rhythm to these hours, where labor and life are intertwined, almost meditative. Neighbors greeted each other early, sharing news and helping with chores. This communal spirit built strong village ties that lasted generations. The sense of morning, fresh bread, herbs drying, coffee brewing, carries stories, memories, and a sense of belonging. Every smell tells a tale. Now I'm starting to cook mama liga, a hearty polenta served with crispy pork cracklings and caramelized onions. In Ukrainian villages, this dish has been a staple for centuries. Simple, filling, and deeply connected to family life. Cornmeal, the base of mama liga, was introduced in Eastern Europe in the 17th century. It quickly became a humble yet essential food, especially in rural areas, feeding families through long workdays in the fields. Pork cracklings, or shkvarki, were a clever way to preserve fat and add flavor. Nothing went to waste in village kitchens. Every piece of meat or fat was valued, turning even simple meals into a treat. Historically, polenta wasn't just for peasants. Royal kitchens in Italy and France enjoyed luxurious versions, often enriched with butter, cream, or truffles. It's fascinating to see how one humble grain could cross social classes. In Italy, polenta has been a staple for over 500 years, especially in northern regions. Farmers would cook it slowly over a wood fire, stirring continuously, sometimes singing or telling stories, just like we do in our home. Even royal families would experiment with polenta. Saffron, cheeses, or truffles were added to elevate it. Yet, the heart of the dish remains the same: warmth, nourishment, and the feeling of home. Polenta traveled beyond Ukraine too. In France, it became pouliot, and in England, cornmeal porridge fed farmers. Food really connects cultures, showing how simple ingredients carry history across borders. In our mornings, preparing Mama Liga brings back memories of grandparents stirring huge wooden spoons, laughing and sharing tales. Every stir feels like touching history, like being part of a living tradition. In 18th century Ukrainian villages, Mama Liga was often cooked in large cast iron cauldrons for communal gatherings, especially during harvest festivals. It wasn't just food, it was a symbol of sharing and togetherness. While I'm in the kitchen, my husband is sawing wood for soap molds. In Ukraine, woodworking has always been more than a hobby. It's a tradition passed down through generations of men, connecting them to the land and to their ancestors. Historically, Ukrainian villages relied heavily on wood. Houses, furniture, tools, and even kitchenware were all handmade. Men learned to respect the grain of the tree and the patience it demanded. Carving wood wasn't just about utility. From decorative crosses to intricate utensils, craftsmanship was a way to show skill, pride, and creativity. Many families still keep hand-carved heirlooms passed down for generations. In rural households, men would spend long winter evenings shaping wood by the stove, telling stories, teaching sons, and sharing folklore. It was as much about family bonding as it was about the craft itself. Ukrainian men often build small works for the household, chairs, tables, or molds for soap and cheese. These projects are personal, practical, and symbolic, marking their contribution to daily life. Now I'm starting to render tallow for our soap. Tallow, or animal fat, has been used in soap making for centuries, not only in Ukraine, but across Europe, as a durable and nourishing base for cleansing and moisturizing. Historically, Ukrainian families would render tallow from beef or pork after butchering. Nothing went to waste. Every part of the animal had a purpose, And tallow was prized for cooking, candles, and of course, soap. Even in medieval Europe, tallow soap was essential. Monasteries, castles, and royal kitchens all relied on it. Kings and queens might use more luxurious versions, enriched with herbs and scents, showing that tallow was universal, from peasants to royalty. In France, tallow soap dates back to the 14th century. It was often scented with rosemary or lavender and used by nobles, while in England it became a household staple, keeping families clean and protected from disease. In Ukrainian villages, soap making was a seasonal activity. Families gathered after butchering, slowly rendering fat, mixing it with ashes or lye, and adding herbs, an alchemy of care and tradition. Tallow was also valued for its longevity. Unlike other fats, it kept soap firm and long-lasting. That's why, even today, tallow-based soaps are considered nourishing and gentle for the skin. If you're enjoying this little journey through Ukrainian traditions and family kitchens, don't forget to subscribe. Royal families sometimes infuse tallow soap with exotic oils and flowers. Imagine a queen bathing in something made of simple fat, transformed by lavender or rose into something luxurious. The process of rendering tallow is meditative. As the fat melts over low heat, I remember my grandmother carefully separating solids from liquid, teaching me patience and respect for the ingredients. Tallow soap is not only practical, it's sustainable. In villages, it connected people to the rhythm of the land, the animals, and the seasons. Every batch carried a sense of responsibility and care. In some regions, families would add milk, honey, or herbs to tallow soap, enhancing its nourishing qualities. Each household had a signature scent, a personal touch passed down through generations. Tallow was often used for candles too, making it a cornerstone of village life. Families relied on every bit of it for light, warmth, and cleanliness, a complete cycle of use and care. Now it's time to pour our coffee lavender tallow soap into molds. Coffee and lavender aren't just scents. They carry centuries of history and stories from households all across Europe, connecting humble village kitchens to royal baths, showing how simple ingredients became cherished across classes. Coffee-infused soaps became popular in the 18th century as coffee spread through European courts. It was valued not only as a drink, but for its invigorating aroma, often used in beauty rituals, showing how the luxury of scent could be blended with everyday hygiene. Lavender has an even older story. It was cultivated since the Middle Ages in France and Italy to scent linens, oils, and soaps. Monks and nuns carefully blended it into tallow soap, believing in its calming and protective properties and passing that tradition across generations. Handmade soap is valued because each bar is unique. Textures, scents, and even small imperfections tell a story, reflecting the maker's hands, intention, and care, unlike mass-produced products that lack soul or character. Royal families loved scented soaps too. Imagine Marie Antoinette or Catherine the Great bathing in soap infused with coffee or lavender, turning simple animal fat into a luxurious indulgence, yet still practical, showing that even common ingredients could be elevated with care and creativity. In Ukraine, homemade soap has always been treasured. Beyond its practical use, it represented patience, skill, and a family's connection to the land. Adding herbs, flowers, or now coffee transforms each bar into something personal and meaningful. Now I'm back at the stove to finish cooking our polenta for dinner. There's something magical about the slow stir of cornmeal over gentle heat. It's not just cooking. It's a rhythm that reminds me of quiet evenings in my grandparents' kitchen. Did you know that in some Ukrainian villages, polenta was cooked for hours in a single large pot during harvest time, feeding entire families and seasonal workers? It was as much about community as it was about nourishment. Interestingly, in Romania and Moldova, polenta, or mamaliga, was considered a protective food, believed to strengthen the body after long days in the field. I like to imagine my ancestors stirring their pots with that same intention. In my own family, we sometimes sprinkle a little smoked paprika or herbs over polenta, a tiny twist on tradition that keeps the dish familiar yet playful. It's a way of honoring the past while making it our own. When cooking polenta, you can see the subtle changes. The mixture thickens, bubbles, and releases a comforting aroma. In our home, that smell immediately signals that family time is coming. A small daily ritual.
Брензочка, бренза била, бренза біла, бренза з полонені. Я би тої брензи їла з вечора до днини. Вече сметана, сідері-дері-дері, та сідері-дадама.
Some old Ukrainian cookbooks mention adding a touch of butter or cream at the very end, creating a richer texture. It's a reminder that even simple ingredients can be elevated with care and timing. Now let's check our coffee lavender tallow soap. Just look at how it has set beautifully, smooth and firm, and the aroma fills the kitchen. Warm, calming, and a little invigorating all at once.
Ой, дуже файно. Зранку, знаєш, добре митися зранку, коли каву пробив. Це вже маєш тобі запах кави. І головне, цілий день тобі буде пахнути каву.
Imagine centuries ago, European royals enjoying similar soaps, enriched with coffee, lavender, and even exotic oils. Bathing wasn't just hygiene. It was ritual, luxury, and a moment of sensory indulgence.
Я тобі це оберу.
In Ukrainian villages, families used tallow soap differently. It was practical, of course, for washing hands, body, and even clothes. But the process of making it, sharing it, and gifting it added meaning far beyond cleaning. Soap was also a small symbol of wealth and care. A beautifully scented bar could be given as a gift, especially during holidays or family celebrations, reflecting thoughtfulness and skill. In the past, soap was also used to clean delicate fabrics or polish leather. Villagers appreciated its versatility, and the skill of creating multi-purpose soap was passed down through generations.
Кофейне? Кофейне, а мені, знаєш, що лава? Ну, десь.
Some people use leftover pieces as drawer fresheners. The coffee lavender scent keeps clothes smelling fresh, bringing a little piece of homemade tradition into everyday life.
Ано перемило. О, пінець, це файно. О, десь як гарний пінець.
Even royalty valued multifunctional soaps. Perfumed tallow soaps could cleanse, scent, and condition skin, and were often displayed in ornate dishes or used during elaborate bathing rituals.
Зараз я тобі теж так зроблю. О, я вже цим кавовим. Ай, мені буде каву пахнути цілий день. О, це як скраб. Десь як гарно з каву.
The aroma alone is soothing. Even without using it for washing, placing a bar in a room, wardrobe, or linen closet releases a gentle scent that connects us to the past and to handmade traditions. Well, friends, evening has finally come, and it's time to sit down and taste our polenta. Just look at how creamy and golden it turned out. Smells like comfort in a bowl. Polenta is incredibly versatile. Traditionally, in Ukrainian villages, it was paired with cheese, fried onions, mushrooms, or even a little cream for richness.
Це нам цікаво, яке мело в нас буде.
In Italy, polenta is often served with stews or roasted meats, showing that this humble dish crosses borders and adapts beautifully to local ingredients.
Я лише вилку менше, а ти бери ложечку. Бо тобі треба більше.
Friends, if you enjoyed cooking and tasting this with us, there's so much more history, recipes, and family stories coming up. So, hit that subscribe button. Comment below how you like to serve your polenta or what toppings make it perfect for your family dinners. Sharing traditions keeps them alive. Today, we're firing up the grill right here on the farm to make some homemade burgers and fries. Nothing beats the smell of meat sizzling over an open flame. And honestly, these burgers have been a family favorite for generations. Before we get too hungry, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to stay with us in the kitchen, on the farm, and in our little family stories that make every meal special. Our morning here on the farm starts early, right with the cows. In Ukrainian villages, milking isn't just a chore. It's a ritual passed down for generations. The quiet of dawn, the smell of fresh hay, the soft lowing of cows, it's a rhythm of life. Each cow has her own personality. Some are calm, some playful, and my little cousin always laughs when a curious calf tries to follow us around the barn. Families here know their cows by name, and it's almost like a daily conversation with an old friend. Milking by hand, or even with small machines, is an art. My grandmother taught me how to feel the milk let down, how to handle the udder gently, and how every drop is precious. In the villages, waste is not an option.
Молоком сильно, щоб була біла.
Did you know, in Ukraine, fresh milk was traditionally brought straight to the table or used to make cheese, yogurt, and butter? No supermarkets, no long travels. Just from our cows to our kitchens, sometimes within the hour. Once the milk is collected, it's filtered and cooled quickly. On many farms, part of it goes to local markets, part stays for the family. There's a pride in knowing exactly where your food comes from. It's real, pure, and full of life.
Мицькі наші. Ти таку не почули. Не було, а це зразу почули, що вже є.
Рукавичка, де? На, мить, рукавичка.
Рукавичка.
Олеса.
In the past, neighbors would share milk freely, visiting each other's farms to exchange cheese and butter. Even today, some traditions survive. Milk from the morning is sometimes left in glass jars for neighbors who drop by on their way to work. Fresh milk also inspires creativity. Pancakes for breakfast, creamy soups, homemade desserts. In Ukrainian culture, milk symbolizes nourishment, purity, and family warmth. Every sip carries the morning sun and the scent of the fields. Well, friends, now we're moving on to cooking some enormous, juicy burgers. But before we start, let's take a little trip through history, because these aren't just sandwiches. The burger has a story that travels continents, families, and centuries. The earliest version comes from Hamburg, Germany, where minced beef was shaped and cooked as early as the 19th century. German immigrants brought it to the United States, and that's where it began its journey into the iconic American meal. In the U.S., the first modern hamburger is believed to have been served at the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair. Imagine the excitement. People tasting something so simple yet revolutionary. Meat between bread. Families flocked around small stands, making it a social tradition. Burgers became symbols of innovation and convenience, but also of community. In our Ukrainian villages, we didn't have fast food back then, but we loved meat dishes wrapped in bread, like homemade sausage and flatbread, or pies with meat fillings. In royal households, beef dishes were celebrated with pomp. While we don't have records of kings eating burgers, per se, European courts were obsessed with presenting minced meat dishes beautifully. The idea of a patty nestled in bread could have easily been imagined at a banquet. Today, burgers cross cultures. In Japan, you might find teriyaki burgers. In India, vegetarian patties with spices. In Sweden, small sliders called mini burgers that look almost like desserts. Each burger tells a story of local flavors meeting a universal concept. Did you know the word burger actually comes from Hamburg steak? Over time, Americans shortened it, and it became something entirely new. A handheld meal, casual yet satisfying, perfect for outdoor gatherings, just like our farm cooking today. Ukrainian cuisine has similar stories. We've always loved layering flavors: meat, bread, cheese, sauces. Even centuries ago, peasants would wrap minced meat in dough or bread to carry it to the fields. So in a way, our farm burgers are a modern echo of ancient traditions.
Поїхав би задовна, і там дівчину має. Де ж ти, моя Маруся? Переїхав я за Дунай. На горбочку хата старий.
There's something magical about the burger's simplicity. Bread, meat, and toppings. But in the right hands, it becomes art. We add cheese, caramelized onions, maybe a homemade sauce. Each element has a story, like the way our family adds herbs grown in the garden. In America, the 1920s brought diners and soda fountains, making burgers mainstream. Families sat together, sharing plates, talking, laughing, very much like what we do now on our farm. Food always connects generations, whether in a diner or a Ukrainian kitchen. Did you know in Britain, minced meat patties were served in castles for centuries? Royal chefs would spice them heavily, and sometimes they were layered in pastry. It's fascinating to see how a simple concept traveled through courts and villages alike. On our farm, we've adapted recipes with local ingredients. Grass-fed beef from our own cows, fresh eggs from our hens, homemade buns baked the day before. It's about honoring the land, the animals, and the heritage of family cooking. Families around the world have similar memories with burgers. In the U.S., kids remember backyard barbecues. In Ukraine, kids remember helping mix the meat or waiting for buns to rise. Food becomes memory. Memory becomes tradition. Some might say burgers are just fast food, but in reality, they are a canvas. Our farm version is slow, deliberate, steeped in care. Each flip, each sizzle, each bite carries intention and love, and that's what makes it special. Some royal stories say kings enjoyed minced beef with toppings in the 18th century. Imagine nobles savoring flavors, while peasants on farms adapted simple ingredients, creating meals that were practical yet comforting. Burgers in Ukraine first became popular in the late 1990s, when international fast food chains opened in Kyiv and Lviv. But even then, families preferred to make their own versions at home, using local ingredients and traditional flavors. Ukrainian homemade burgers often include smoked meats or sausages, inspired by centuries-old preservation techniques. People adapted the modern burger to fit their culinary traditions and seasonal ingredients. During village festivals, it became common to prepare large meat patties for communal gatherings. While not called burgers at first, these meat and bread dishes were the ancestors of today's homemade versions. In the Carpathian region, some families add local herbs and cheeses to patties, giving the burger a uniquely Ukrainian twist. Each family has their own signature spice mix, often a secret passed down for generations. Ukrainian cooks also experimented with grains, sometimes adding buckwheat or rye flour to buns or patties. This not only adds flavor, but also ties the modern burger to traditional staples of the region. In many Ukrainian homes, burgers became a symbol of weekend relaxation. After a long week working in the fields or at the market, families would gather for a simple, hearty meal that everyone could help prepare. Some villages developed burger competitions, especially during harvest festivals. Families would compete to make the juiciest patty, the fluffiest bun, or the most flavorful toppings, turning cooking into a playful tradition. During Soviet times, meat was scarce, so families improvised with what they had. Patties were often mixed with potatoes or vegetables, creating early Ukrainian adaptations of the burger that were economical yet delicious. If you're enjoying this behind-the-scenes look at our farm and burger-making adventures, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that button to follow along for more family stories. Burgers also became popular in boarding schools and summer camps. Kids learned to assemble them themselves, which encouraged creativity and helped spread local variations across regions. In western Ukraine, it was common to include local cheeses, such as brendza or smoked goat cheese, in burgers. This practice connected modern recipes with the centuries-old tradition of dairy farming in the Carpathians. Now we send our burger buns off to the oven. The smell of fresh bread baking is irresistible, filling the kitchen with warmth and nostalgia. The oven hums, the crust browns perfectly, and we wait eagerly to taste that first bite. Now it's time to prepare our French fries. Believe it or not, the story of fries is full of debate. Some say they were first made in Belgium in the late 1600s, while others claim France is the true birthplace. Either way, they've traveled the world and found a place on every table. Legend has it that in Belgium, poor villagers would fry small fish. But in winter, when the rivers froze, they cut potatoes into fish shapes and fried them instead. Can you imagine? The first fries were a clever survival food. In the royal courts of Europe, fries were considered a delicacy. French and Belgian nobles served them with fine sauces and meats. The humble potato became a symbol of ingenuity and luxury at the same time. Historically, potatoes weren't always celebrated. When introduced to Europe, many thought they were poisonous. Only over time did they become a staple, eventually inspiring dishes like fries that everyone loves today. In Ukraine, potatoes have always been a staple. When French fries arrived, families adapted them to local taste. We love adding herbs, a bit of garlic, or even a sprinkle of smoked paprika from our own garden. I remember one afternoon when my cousin insisted on hand-cutting the fries. His fingers were covered in flour, potato dust flying everywhere, and he proudly announced, "These are the best fries in Ukraine." And honestly, he wasn't wrong. Now it's time to prepare the toppings. I start with slicing fresh tomatoes, cucumbers, and onions. The best tip? Use a sharp knife and cut against the grain of the tomato. It keeps it juicy and prevents it from getting mushy. While slicing, I remember my childhood, helping my mother chop vegetables for family meals. We'd argue about who could slice the thinnest tomato, laughing and tasting as we went. That's the joy of preparing food together. Next, I grate some cheese. A little trick I learned: chill the block of cheese in the freezer for 10 minutes before grating. It makes it easier and less sticky. Plus, it melts perfectly on a hot patty. Assembling the burger is like building a tiny masterpiece. Start with the bun, add the patty, layer on cheese, then tomatoes, cucumbers, and onions. Each ingredient adds flavor and texture, and visually, it's just as satisfying. I like adding fresh herbs from our garden: basil, parsley, even a little dill. It's a simple touch, but it elevates the burger, making it taste like summer in every bite. Our family always appreciates these little details.
Куди мені поможеш? Куди ти поможеш? Бери мені це прийми. Потримаєш, добре?
While building burgers, I tell stories from our farm. Last summer, when my cousin tried to stack 3 patties, or the time a dog sneaked a slice of cheese. Food is never just food. It's memory and laughter.
Ох, це такий буде бургер, будеш їсти, правда? Треба ножем корити. Треба великого ножа. Але зато як смачно буде.
Another tip: keep sauces on hand, homemade if possible. A bit of ketchup, mustard, or our special garlic herb mayo transforms the burger. Let everyone add their own amount. It's part of the fun and personal touch. And finally, the moment we've been waiting for: we sit down together. The table is full, burgers stacked high, fries on the side, laughter everywhere. This is the joy of cooking and sharing with family and friends. Thank you for joining us today, friends. We hope you enjoyed this farm-to-table burger adventure. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and cook with love. Your family will thank you for it.
Вау. Вау. Дякувати Богові за